Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to the Rotary Club of York, where our mission is to improve life in the city of York by connecting our club's diverse community leaders through fellowship, action, and service. I am your president, Courtney Piccolo, and as you know, we start off all of our meetings by reciting the four-way test. If you'd please join me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Today, our opening song, America, My Country 'Tis of Thee, and the pledge will be led by Jack Dyson, followed by the invocation by past President Jackie Summers and visitor introductions by Andy Barnes.
And being assisted partner with Natalie. Here we go. My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon. Please join me in a word of prayer. Gracious God, we thank you for this day and for the opportunity to gather. We ask you to bless our meeting and inspire us to honor you and each other in all that we say and do. Help us to live out the values of Rotary. Guide us to use our gifts and talents to make a positive difference in the world. We're grateful for our speaker, who has dedicated his life to expanding educational and career opportunities for young people from underrepresented backgrounds. We pray that you will bless his work and vision, and that you will open our hearts and minds to learn from his insights and experiences. We ask you to show us how we can collaborate with him and other partners in our community to create meaningful pathways for the next generation of leaders and innovators in York. Thank you for the nourishment of this food and for those who have prepared and served it. In your name we pray. Amen.
I am pleased to have the honor of introducing our guest to today's meeting. When I call your name, please stand if you are able and remain standing until President Courtney has welcomed you. Dr. Kara Druck, guest of past President Ann Druck. Marina Brown, guest of Amanda Hardin. Bob Farrell, guest of past President Di Hershey. Okay, Dr. Pragya Singh, guest of Signore Tommaso Caltagirone. There's two of them today. Sophia Caltagirone, guest of Tommaso Caltagirone. Tomorrow's not here, right? No. Brian Caden, guest of President-elect nominee Doug Berman. Alice Ann Frost, guest of Lauren Froh. Dr. Joshua DeSantis, guest of Jeff Vermillion. Aziza Klein, guest of past President Rob Bowen. And Cora Taylor, guest of Andy Rawitz. I totally butchered that one.
Visitors, I trust that your experience today is filled with a great lunch, fellowship, and some fantastic community leaders, and a program that will inform and inspire you. Thank you for being our guest today, and please come and visit us anytime again. Rotarians, please join me in welcoming our visitors. And now for some announcements. The IDEA Committee will meet on Wednesday, August 28th at 10:30 here at the Country Club. And for this next announcement, I need your help. So the Country Club is actually going to be closed the last week in January, which is where we're all at right now. So that means that January 29th, we need a new home. So if anybody has any suggestions on where we would be able to hold our meeting on January 29th, we need a place that's big enough for about 130 people. Rotary pays for the lunch, but we would need the room rental fee to be waived or free. So if you have any places in mind, it'd be good if we either had a well-established business or maybe a brand new location somewhere in York that we could be checking out. So any suggestions that you have, please contact Program Committee Chair, past President Mike Summers, and let him know. And the next slide here, we have some pictures of last night's Crab Fest that we had at the Etzweiler Boathouse on the river. So we had about 40 Rotarians that attended. We all ate way too many crabs. So if you're smelling crabs in Old Bay, it's because many of us were covered in them last night, and it is really hard to get Old Bay off. Our hands were like stained. So thank you again to Rotarian Bob and Ashley Etzweiler for hosting us. We had a really great time last night. And now I invite Dan May to the podium to give us an update on our club's fundraiser.
Good afternoon. So this is your weekly reminder that we are now just 3 weeks away from our Love for Community fundraising event. And this is our main fundraiser for the year, and there is still time to sign up, participate, or even provide a sponsorship. And speaking of sponsorships, we are incredibly thankful for our 2 presenting sponsors this year, North Industrial Chemical and Fox 43. I'd also like to recognize Darren Smith, right on cue, for his cornhole sponsorship. So as part of his sponsorship, we had professional boards made with his company logo that we will use in the cornhole tournament this year. So if you or somebody you know would be interested in boards or a cornhole sponsorship, please let me know as soon as possible, because we are closely running out of time to have the boards made. So speaking of the tournament, we are shaping up to have a great tournament this year. There's currently 40 people signed up. So we are on the cusp of having a full-on party down at the driving range. So please sign up. There's still time. There is a chance that I will need some extra boards. So if you have a set of professional style boards that you'd be willing to bring the day of the event, please let me know. And I know what you might be thinking. I have boards. I don't know if they're the professional kind. So very easily, if you can pick your boards up with one hand and you can maybe fold them or easily put them in the trunk, they're probably not what we're looking for. If they look like that and they're ridiculously heavy and you have to lay your seats down to transport them, that's probably what we're looking for. So in closing, if you haven't already done so, please sign up to participate, volunteer, donate, or at least come to dinner and bid on an auction item. Thank you.
As members of this Rotary Club, we're all committed to making a difference in our community and beyond. And this fundraiser is a key part of that mission, allowing us to support important projects that align with Rotary's values and service above self. So when we come together to support this event, we're not just raising money, we're creating opportunities for change. So I personally encourage all of you to get involved in some way. And now I invite past President Jackie Summers to the podium. She is the chair of the Membership Recruitment Committee, and she's going to be giving us a membership recruitment announcement.
Thank you, President Courtney. Good afternoon again. The charter meeting of the Rotary Club of York was held over 108 years ago on April 17th, 1916, with 27 members present. In 1925, the club moved from the Colonial Hotel to the Yorktown Hotel, which was our home for 92 years until it underwent renovations in 2017. Today, our club is the largest club in the state of Pennsylvania and the 26th largest in the world, of now 46,000 clubs working together to promote peace, to fight disease, to provide clean water, sanitation, and hygiene, save mothers and children, support education, grow local economies, and protect the environment. So if you're curious, what makes up our membership? Who's in our club? I thought you might be interested in some of these statistics. With the 5 new members that will be inducted into our club very soon, our club has 298 members. The average age is 57. The average age of service is 14. 32% of our membership is under the age of 50. 25% of our membership is over the age of 70. 31% is female, and 69% is male. Not-for-profit organizations make up 19% of our membership. For-profit companies make up 68%, including those who are now retired. And then the balance is comprised of those representing government, education, and our honorary members. Our club is a vibrant network of service-minded people who share a common vision of creating positive change in the world. We provide opportunities to engage in local and international projects, to foster friendships and partnerships. While we take pride in being the largest in our district and the largest in our state, it truly isn't, nor has it ever been the goal. Rather, we know that as we grow, we can expand Rotary's reach and impact. We increase our service capacity, we broaden our network of partners and collaborators, and we enhance our visibility and our public image. Together, we can foster a culture of inclusion, diversity, and learning, and uphold Rotary's core values of service, fellowship, integrity, diversity, and leadership. Today, we are kicking off a new member drive. Over the next 6 weeks, for each guest you bring to a club meeting, your name will go into a drawing for a $100 gift certificate to use at the historic Yorktown Hotel. We can each play a role in inviting and welcoming potential members to our club, and by sharing your Rotary stories and experiences, every member can help our club grow and thrive. When new members join Rotary, they bring fresh ideas and perspectives. They help us be innovative and adaptable and grow in response to the changing needs and expectations of our community. So again, the campaign starts today. So Tom, you're in for 2. Well done. You're going right into the drawing, and you'll continue to add your name every single week for every single guest that you bring until September 25th. And then we'll draw the winning name the following week on October 2nd. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to me or Vice Chair Nick Beck or any member of the Membership Recruitment Committee. Those who are here today, could you kindly raise your hands so we can see you? Many are in the room. Awesome. The Rotary Club of York is the oldest continuous service organization in York County. Throughout our history, Rotary has developed a proud tradition of living up to our motto, service above self. President Courtney looks forward to welcoming an abundance of guests and potential members over the next 6 weeks. And with your help, we will cross that 300 member threshold in no time. Thank you so much.
So we eat crabs, we play cornhole, we're awesome, we're big. So basically tell everybody you know and try to think of your network of people that you have in your mind, your coworkers or just people that you're coming across in a daily basis and people that you think might be a great fit for Rotary, and bring them in to help us really create that bigger impact here in York County. All right, now I invite Sarah White to the podium to introduce today's speaker.
So it's really a privilege to be able to introduce our speaker today, Dr. Donnell Butler. Donnell has a long and impressive track record as a thinker and a doer, and I'm going to go into all of that in a minute, but I just want to share a little bit of my personal background with Donnell. We met just over 10 years ago when I started working at Franklin and Marshall College. At the time, he was also working there, his alma mater, leading the Next Generation Initiative, an effort intended to recruit and support students who traditionally have been unlikely to attend a school like F&M. I'd been working at York College in the development department when I heard the new president at F&M interviewed about the work that he and Donnell were doing to create pathways for college students of color and students who were the first in their families to go to college. I'd been working in higher education for my entire career at this point, and including at my alma mater in South Mississippi, teaching writing. So I had some ideas about how colleges and universities worked. But Dan Porterfield and Donnell Butler were doing something new, and I really wanted to be a part of it. So I went and got a job at F&M. This groundbreaking program resulted in a 3 to 4-fold increase in both enrollment and graduation rates for students of color and Pell Grant recipients during Donnell's tenure as a dean from 2012 to 2019. Donnell, not satisfied to rest on his laurels, decided that it wasn't enough to stay in this lane. He knew from his own experience as a first-generation college student from South Bronx that there was still a need beyond the walls of F&M, and set out to establish something that would break the traditional mold. When he first told me that he was going to start his own college, I remember thinking, if anyone can do this crazy hard work, it's Donnell. I've honestly never met anyone as hardworking and as dedicated to making this world a better place for others. His journey is a testament to the power of education and opportunity. After earning a BA in business administration and sociology from Franklin and Marshall, he went on to complete his PhD in sociology from Princeton University. With over 20 years of research and practice experience, Dr. Butler has dedicated his career to improving college and career outcomes for all students, but especially those from first-generation college-going and lower-income backgrounds. His impressive background includes roles at prestigious institutions such as Educational Testing Service and Princeton University before going to F&M, where I met him. Donnell founded and now serves as president of Opportunity College, a nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering economic mobility through career-connected education and work-based learning opportunities for youth from under-resourced communities. Today, Dr. Butler will be speaking to us about catalyzing youth upward mobility through innovative work-based learning experiences. And his presentation is going to explore how York can leverage programs like paid high school internships to bridge skills gaps, create pathways to prosperity for our youth, and stimulate our local economic development. His vision for a community-wide initiative that brings together businesses, schools, and civic organizations has the potential to transform lives and strengthen our entire community. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Donnell Butler.
Good afternoon, everyone. And this is a big group. You should be very proud of yourselves. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Sarah, for the warm introduction and the invitation. And I want to thank you all for having me here and for the work that you're doing to strengthen the New York community. I want to talk to you a little bit today about how we could potentially unleash the promise of our young people to benefit the future of our communities. And I'm going to start a little bit by sharing some of my own story. So I grew up in a low-income neighborhood that, for all intents and purposes, oftentimes investment didn't come to our community. It was pretty scarce. And pathways to the future didn't seem very bright for young people like me. So I tried to understand, like, why was this happening? And so according to research by Raj Chetty and the folks at the Opportunity Insights team at Harvard University, turns out that my Morrisania neighborhood in the South Bronx rates in the bottom 7th percentile in the United States when it comes to the opportunity for children to become upwardly economically mobile in adulthood. Yet I had a different experience. Through a combination of hard work, caring adults,
and early experiences in professional environments, I found myself on a journey that led from an under-resourced public school to a high school experience as an intern at Citibank, which led to me being the first in my family to go to college, eventually getting a PhD at Princeton University, and having an amazing career as an educator, a researcher, a former college dean. And now I'm on this great journey where I'm working with an amazing team of people to figure out how we can make for our young people an experience where being able to have the life that I had is a far more common occurrence. But my story is not about personal achievement. It's about the transformative power of opportunity, caring educators and mentors, and early career exposure. It's about how providing young people with a glimpse of what's possible can ignite their ambition and set them on a path to success. Unfortunately, my success is an anomaly. Millions of young people from low-income backgrounds face significant barriers to achieving upward economic mobility. Challenge is threefold. First, there's limited access to career pathways for low-income youth. In the 1980s, when I was a kid, 58% of teens had a paid job at some point during the year. That number declined to 30% in 2009. Now it's rising again, about 37% in 2023. But that's a far cry from when I was growing up, where 6 out of 10 teens had a paying job. Second, we're facing a widening skills gap between what our education system provides and what our employers need. The mix of jobs and skills in demand in the economy is shifting faster than traditional learning programs are able to keep up. Third, in recent decades, high schools have been incentivized to focus on testable subject area skills and college readiness. Yet somehow in that process, we stop providing young people with the competencies they need to secure a good job. Far too often, our young people have limited work experience, underdeveloped professional skills, and a lack of social capital in the form of professional networks and mentors. Now, research has clearly shown that there are extraordinary ways to address this issue through high-quality work-based learning experiences. Those experiences can eliminate those barriers and improve both college and career outcomes. However, only 2% of high schools have opportunities for students to participate in things like internships. And that gap exists because most high schools lack the capacity to engage local employers in creating meaningful learn and earn opportunities. Simultaneously, many businesses lack the expertise to effectively integrate and grow young people to thrive in their workplaces. Without these crucial career-connected experiences, even academically prepared students offer graduates, a chance to go to college, but they don't often have that sense of purpose, nor the skills that we know are vital for success in college and career and life. And we see from that some of the recent reports to show that students graduating from college, more than half of them are going to be unemployed or underemployed in the first year after college. So this is where our nonprofit organization comes in. Our mission is to accelerate young people into purpose-filled lives that lead to economic freedom. And we do this by designing and operating work-based learning programs for students in lower income communities. Through our flagship Learn and Earn internship program, we work with employers and high schools to provide students with professional skills, career exploration, work experience, and social capital, all while students are earning income and academic credit. In school year 2022-23, we served 27 students, one employer partner, one high school in one city. Then the next year in 23-24, we served 63 students with 2 companies. We are now in 4 high schools across 3 cities. And in this year, we're currently partnering with 3 companies to serve at least 90 students across 7 high schools in 5 cities. Here's how this program works. We partner with employers to provide year-long paid internships of about 6 to 10 hours per week to students in local high schools. Student interns work directly with a dedicated manager in teams across the different divisions and departments so that students can see the different types of high demand, high trajectory career pathways at a company. Concurrently, our students take a year-long seminar course that's aligned to their internship experience. This enhances their workplace readiness and career building capabilities. Also, our intern managers participate in professional development workshops throughout the year to help them develop and adapt the management practices to meet diverse people where they are, so as to maximize the experience and the quality of work for everyone involved. Through our program, students get to explore careers, build professional networks, gain confidence, and develop the 21st century skills like professionalism, communication, teamwork, problem solving. Moreover, our high schools see this as a great way to gain an innovative college and career prep program for their schools. But it's not just our students who benefit. Employers gain access to a diverse talent pipeline. They're providing valuable professional development opportunities for their existing staff who one day want to become managers. And they're able to boost employee engagement through mentorship and other volunteer opportunities. Moreover, our employer partners have found that these experiences offer a concrete way to demonstrate the company's values and commitment to enhancing economic opportunity in their local community. Now, for me, I've been trying to imagine the potential of this work if we could apply and scale that model across entire communities. Many cities face significant workforce development challenges. There's often a mismatch between the skills that local employers need and the training that young people receive in schools. This leads to a situation where businesses struggle to find qualified local talent. And when residents lack access to good jobs in their own community, this creates a significant challenge because the most promising young people among them, failing to see opportunity at home, sometimes end up like me and choose to go away from college, potentially never returning. And that leads to brain drain. And this creates a perpetual cycle of economic inequality that makes it difficult to attract innovative and complementary new businesses to the community. But high quality work-based learning programs can address these key issues by nurturing local talent and meeting business needs simultaneously. These programs allow businesses to play an active role in developing the skills they need in their future workplace. And at the same time, they provide young people with real-world experiences and clearer paths to rewarding careers. The result is a pipeline of skilled workers who are intrinsically excited about the local companies who are and are investing in their communities. The ripple effects on the community can be profound. These programs can help reduce inequality by providing opportunities to youth who might otherwise be left behind. In addition, the immediate economic impact of the wages that are earned by interns makes a difference, but far more than that, these programs expand the number of local residents with the capabilities to qualify for higher paying jobs and increasingly challenging roles at these companies, which increases local spending power, improves the tax base. But perhaps most importantly, these programs can instill a sense of hope and pride in the community as young people see a viable future for themselves in their hometown. So a big unanswered question that I'm grappling with, and why I'm happy to be here with all of you today, is how do we make this type of vision a reality? I believe it starts by bringing together key stakeholders, businesses, schools, civic organizations like Rotary, and each has a critical role to play. There are several frameworks that we're working through for collaboration that's worth considering. For example, an intermediary organization approach where a dedicated entity coordinates efforts between schools and businesses. Right now, that's what my organization does. And we can do this well with a few employers and a few schools. But it remains to be seen as to whether or not that framework can be sustainable and scalable to serve many employers and many schools and across an entire medium to large city or county. So there's also the collective impact model, where representatives from schools, businesses, and other key stakeholders come together as a centralized team to build and work through a common agenda. This model is often initiated by and led by a well-respected, well-connected, well-resourced local entity, oftentimes like a county community foundation. One more example is public-private partnerships, where a government agency takes the lead in catalyzing and incentivizing businesses to work with government entities like schools and other city offices to address a shared challenge. Now, what we've learned so far is that building such initiatives isn't easy. Some of the common obstacles we've encountered include lack of engagement from the business community, transportation barriers for students, misalignment between school schedules and work schedules, and funding constraints. But communities across the country are finding creative solutions to these challenges. For instance, some have partnered with local transportation authorities to provide free or discounted public transit passes for high school students. Some schools have begun implementing flexible block scheduling to accommodate students' work schedules. So we know that these are solvable problems with creative thinking and community commitment. I want to wrap up by emphasizing that the transformative potential of youth upward mobility initiatives like the one I've shared, in some ways, I view that investing in our young people, we're not just changing individual lives, we're changing the future of our entire communities. But to make this happen, we need the engagement of community leaders like yourselves. Businesses can commit to providing more internships and mentorship opportunities for their employees to young people. Schools can work on aligning curriculum with local workforce needs. Nonprofit intermediaries can coordinate efforts between the schools, the businesses, social support services. And civic organizations like Rotary can be the catalyst, bringing stakeholders together and advocating for these issues. Some of you are probably already doing some of these things, but I invite you to do more. I invite you all to consider how you might contribute to such an effort here in York. Could you offer an internship at your business? Could you mentor a young person? Could you use your networks to bring folks together to address this issue? Other next steps by a collective like Rotary might include forming a working group to explore how a youth upward mobility initiative could benefit the community. As a working group, you could conduct a survey of local businesses to understand their workforce needs. You could talk to school leaders to gauge their capacity for integrated work-based learning programs. And with so many possibilities for action, I'm confident that we can create pathways to prosperity for our youth and build stronger and more vibrant communities for all. When we invest in our young people, we invest in our collective future. I want to thank you for giving me some time to share some ideas. I want to open the floor up for questions and conversation around whether and how this kind of work could elevate the city of York. Thanks.
Thank you for a very interesting presentation. Can you talk to us a little bit about what the outcomes have been for the students that you've worked with so far?
So we've worked with 90 students. Now, in terms of our direct outcomes, they've actually been a little bit too good. And I say that, but there's a problem with that. I'll tell you why. So when we do our evaluations, right? So we find 100% of students are satisfied, 100% go on to college. It's like, okay, this is great. Like all the students love it. Every employer that we've had signs up with us for another year. This is all wonderful. But we're still small. Like we've made specific choices when we've partnered with schools and we've partnered with employers. They've actually been quite rigorous when it comes to, okay, so who are we going to give these internships to? The interview process, and you know, to some extent, I will admit that a lot of the students are really excited to be a part of this program, want to be a part of this program, recognize that when they go off to college, they're probably going to have to work and do school at the same time. So this is a good way to get that under their belt. And so we have a very, for lack of a better way to describe it, hungry audience of students. We have a hungry audience of employers. They're like the first movers in this kind of work at a large scale, and schools that are very supportive. As we begin to expand this out, there's the possibility, right? I always worry about risk. I used to be an auditor. That's how my career first started. I worry about risk a lot. There's a possibility that this doesn't hold as you expand to maybe situations in which I've seen organizations where students partner with schools and the schools basically say, you have to do this program. We pilot tested things like that, not necessarily a paid internship program, but other types of programs with schools. When you force students to do something they don't want to do, attendance rates go down, satisfaction rates go down, their quality of engaging in experience goes down. Right now, we're in a sweet spot. How much that sweet spot can continue, that's the thing that we're trying to work on. Because as we grow this program, we want to position, like our dream is that we pick a city that really wants to go in on this, and every school district, every high school in that city has a paid internship program. And all the major employers in town are contributing some internship seats to it. And at some point, you will reach a moment in which, okay, you're going to have some students that aren't really all in. You're going to have some employers who are like, well, I'm kind of doing this because Bob over here is doing it at his company and I don't want to look bad. And you might have some schools that are just like, we are so over capacity. Please don't ask us to do another thing. We can't but we're going to be in because we don't want to be the only school not part of the. And then when that happens, that's when the outcomes become trickier. So right now, we're looking super. But I recognize that, as an educator, as you begin to scale these things, you've got to work really hard on how to maintain those outcomes. But thank you for the question.
Thank you for a great presentation about something that's so important. I'm curious what cities you are currently operating in. You mentioned the growth over a couple of years. So I'm curious where you currently are, and do you have any plans or dreams about how you might scale up and where you might head to next?
Okay, great question. So right now, our largest cities are Newark, New Jersey, Camden, New Jersey, and Charlotte, North Carolina, starting this year. We also do work in Culver City, California, basically Southern California, near Los Angeles area, and Cambridge, Massachusetts. We work with public schools, both traditional and charter. And where we're thinking about expanding next scares the heck out of me. Here's the reason why. We get inquiries a lot for individual businesses who say, hey, this might be interesting. Can we do this? A lot of schools are like, hey, this is interesting. Can we do this? And for us, we're a small team. We are, educators, researchers who are trying to solve this big, hairy, audacious problem. And so we recognize that scaling too fast can be a bit of a challenge. So oftentimes it's really important for us to have access to employers who are, willing to provide a paid internship, not an unpaid internship, right? So we have these criteria. And some of those criteria also include, is there a local foundation that's willing to sort of support this and learn alongside us? Because at some point they might be, right, in the collective impact model, the convener who we pass it along to, because our goal is not to go running these programs throughout. We want a scalable model where cities own this work and are embracing this work. So for me, the big thing is the next city we go to, I'd like it to be a city where there's a set of employers, there's a set of schools, and I'm happy to work with that city to come up with who those people are. But there's this almost growing collective interest in this, because that's the key research question that if we can solve that, and then other cities go, oh, that looks dope, we should do that. And then other cities, and then other cities. We get to that wonderful day and that wonderful moment at some point, I hope it happens in my lifetime, where we don't have to worry about things like, will there be Social Security? Because we've got so many talented people in our workforce who are enthusiastic and excited about growing their careers, growing their professions, growing their families, growing their communities through great work experiences. And so I don't know, maybe York is you all tell me.
Well, that's an interesting comment. I do like your presentation. I have two things to say. We've been doing this on our own in our own company for years, and there is some sort of involvement, and I'm not sure if it's with York County Economic Development, but we are regularly having high school interns as well as college interns. We pay them in our own company.
Can we show this
There's
man
some
some love?
organization in York that is doing this, but so I'll make that statement. I like what you're doing, and I think we're doing it in York, although I don't know all the details. Someone else here probably can identify the name. It's workforce development or something. But I'm going to ask you a question that troubles me. You made the statement that 50% of college graduates are graduating and end up not working in their
Unemployed or
profession.
unemployed, underemployed or unemployed. in their first
Underemployed or,
year.
okay, is it not somewhat the responsibility of the college that's taking the money from the Rotary clubs or the federal government or the whoever's for these students, and explain to the students that the majors in which they are enrolling are not likely to produce an outcome that they may think is out there, and maybe discourage people from going to college in those non-productive fields, or put them into some field that is productive?
I like you. Okay. Didn't know we were going to go here, but let's go here, right? So that's not actually a third rail hot take. Here's the thing about colleges and universities that a lot of people don't know about. And my team, like at some point, they're going to see this video and they're going to go, oh no, this guy got him started. So in 2012, when I joined F&M, there were about 4,725, 4,750 degree granting institutions in the country. At the end of last year, that number had dwindled by 725. We lost 15% of the colleges and universities in the country. Now, some of that would say is because of the demographic cliff. Well, the really demographic cliff that everybody had been talking about, that we knew about back in the 2000s, were almost like late 2000s, we knew was inevitable. That really didn't start to happen until mostly around 2020. That decline happened because there were a lot of colleges and universities, I hate to say it, that weren't looking out for the best interests of their students. So they're closed now because people began to realize that, called them out on it, and or students begin to gather better information to make better decisions. And it's not just the for-profits, because I know it's easy for folks to go, oh, it's the for-profit colleges. They're the ones who 8% of nonprofit colleges closed during the same time period. And these closures are clearly more and more likely to happen. I mean, you've all probably seen the work that's coming out now about how, like, basically there's a college closure once a week now. Like, this is a problem. But in some ways, the problem is driven by, and I hate to say this because I love higher ed. I built my work in higher ed. Like when Sarah was talking earlier, we actually set out to start a new type of college. Now, we didn't want to start on our own. We actually wanted to build a model, sit it within existing colleges, almost like a college within a college. And man, I can tell you that it was so incredibly hard. Everything from accreditation agencies saying to us, yeah, we love your concept. We love what you're trying to do here. However, you know, we can't just let new colleges into the marketplace because you all may end up, especially if you're only working with low-income students, you all may end up hurting the students in the same way these for-profits did. So here's the set of criteria you need to become a college. And a lot of it was driven by basically, do you have an endowment? And if you don't have an endowment, you can't create a new college. Or do you have an economic model that doesn't depend on low-income kids? If you're going to charge rich kids a whole lot of money to get a master's degree, we'll give you a college. See, now the accreditation agencies are going to hate me. But we've put ourselves in a situation as a country because we've tried to protect our student consumers. So we're in a really interesting crossroads with higher ed because the colleges and universities that are remaining are recognizing this problem and trying to do something about it, at least the ones that are going to survive. The ones that aren't going to survive are largely hoping that by teaching their young people how to learn, that they're going to figure it out when they go out there. I don't think that works. And I don't know if it's so much about a major per se. And the reason why I don't know if it's so much about choosing the wrong major is because the reality is the jobs of the future, we just don't know yet. We thought we knew. When I was in graduate school, that was when like all of a sudden there was this new thing. It's called Google. And it was like, wait, what is this? There's nothing on the page. There's no dancing bears. There's not a whole bunch of links. Can we really trust this? Look at them now, right? Like the jobs of the future are still being created. They're still being imagined. They're still being envisioned. So there's still power in that liberal arts education where you learn how to learn. For me, my argument is it's not enough for a young person to learn in college a particular subject area. You've got to, in college, and frankly, I think it's got to start in high school, get them experience in applying what they're learning in real world context. And until you do that, you almost can't blame them for like, okay, I graduated from high school. Woo, celebration. No, you got, oh, okay. I graduated from college. Woo, I won. No, you didn't win. This is the beginning of a journey. And so if we can get more of our high school leaders, more of our higher education leaders to recognize that true liberal arts learning is integrating the learning with real life experiences in your home, in your family, in your community, in a workplace, I think we got a shot then. If we don't figure that out, you're going to see another 700 colleges and universities close, maybe more in the next 10 years. Thank you for the question. He's got the mic. I'm not in control.
That was the best answer to one of Jim's questions I've ever heard. Thank you. So as a liberal arts major from York College, who also worked my way through college, which gave me a lot of experience in what you're talking about, thank you. And I wonder, as you're talking, when you're looking at a place to partner with, is there an employer type that comes up as like, well, if they've got that kind of employer, what does it look like for you, like a qualifying good set of employers in a community?
So I'm going to narrow it down because we're actually doing research on this. We're like reaching out to different employers and having them, sort of tell us like what their thoughts and theories are around hiring young people in general, right? Whether high school students or college, what are their pain points when it comes to, because there are some pain points for high school student hiring, especially if like you run a steel mill, safety issues, things like that, right? So essentially our three biggest criteria, one, the internship has to be paid. Unpaid internships are great if you can do an unpaid internship. A lot of the young people that we choose to work with and work for, they're going to have to get some kind of work anyway to pay for, clothes for the next school year, to when they go off to college to pay for books. So paid internship is sort of the number one thing. The number two thing is, why are you doing it? If you're doing it for a lot of the reasons I laid out, like it doesn't have to be completely noblesse oblige, and you're doing it because, building our future is the right thing to do. Like I love you. But really, are you doing it for some type of a right reason that's going to benefit the student, the schools, the community? So are you doing it because it's a great way to have a social impact program that's going to make a difference in our communities so that we've got more economic impact over time? That leads to more economic investment, that leads to new businesses, that leads to more people wanting to live in town. Great. Okay, that works. It can even serve a business imperative for the organization. If the organization says, listen, we need more talent. Like we are going to basically, we got all these people retiring and they're going to move up into those jobs, but who's going to move into these jobs? And man, right now we're like trying to like get people to move into our town in order to, and they're not moving into the town, so they're going to work remotely, but we'd really want them here. But like, if it's a talent development pipeline, great. And if it's a way that you're using the business as a the program as a way of improving your own business talent pool, right? So you've got some young managers, well, young employees who have never managed before, right? And they can get some mentorship from one of their managers, and they get to manage an intern, and they get to develop out those supervisory skills, right? So for us, there's got to be like an imperative. Why are you doing it? If you're doing it because you heard it was a cool thing, I'm hesitant, because that's not a good enough reason. The minute one little thing goes wrong, you're going to be out the door. Like, I don't want to do that to schools. I don't want to do that to students, right? I want to see some level of commitment. The third thing we look for in an employer is, do you have employees that are potentially enthusiastic about volunteering as managers, as mentors, even doing simple things like just talking to students, in the lunchroom, and actually who care about the community and wanting the community to be a vibrant place. If you've got, employees who are like extremely excited about that kind of stuff, they can really make this we've seen this, like the program can really thrive. And like at that point, the executive sponsor basically just walks away and goes, wow, okay, I don't really have to do much anymore. People are hungry for this.
Have you considered, or do you have a mechanism in place that helps you to track the success beyond the program ending? So they've gotten the internship. Did that indeed turn into a job? Did they stay in that job? Did they settle in a community? Did they get involved? Did they give back? I'm just curious. Are you thinking about that?
Yeah. So we're thinking about it a lot, because we found that some of our employers do a great job of keeping track of at least who the students are, where they are, they're basically like contact information. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say yet, but like, let's stay in touch. Like, there should be an impact report study coming out from one of our largest employer partners within the next several months that tracks that and reports that. But some of our employer partners don't do that. So then we rely on the schools. And some schools are really good at that. Other schools, not so much. They don't have the capacity for it. It's not required or expected from a state standpoint. And so in those situations, we're starting to realize, oh, we've got a gap in our data in terms of longer term outcomes. So what we've started to do is all the basic things that one should do in this situation. So if you are like an employer, or if you're like a nonprofit and you're trying to figure out, like, there's this beautiful thing when at least it comes to like colleges called the National Student Clearinghouse. And all you need is a student's name and their birth date. So we ask our students, would you please share us your birth date? We're going to be using this to track you. So that's how you get the higher education stuff. For the career stuff, our strategy has been, man, I'm giving away the good stuff now. One of the most important parts of our program is we not only encourage, but we prepare our students and essentially train them on using this interesting vehicle called LinkedIn. And we get them so like almost hyped up about the value of LinkedIn in terms of not just learning from others who are in the field or sector that you're interested in, but building connections with people who you've met who are in that field, that they begin using it fairly regularly. And of course, the first thing they do is the first assignment is, well, you're going to connect to me, or you're going to connect to, one of my colleagues. And so we're starting to use that. And we've already started to figure out, okay, how can we basically, because at some point we're going to have so many students, I go individually in and I can look at each student's updates and I can get a notification about them. But at some point we're going to reach a level of scale where we're going to probably need some API to like scrape all that data and Because the hard part about doing this in any other way is that it's hard to keep up with students after they've gone off. They're not really great at like updating their contact information, but something like a LinkedIn allows you to, something like the National Student Clearinghouse allows you to. And that's our plan. We'll see how well it works. That's going to be a couple of years from now when I can give you those results. But impact study, so I'm sending it out to the universe. The employer knows who they are. Come on, y'all. The study's actually done. It's just like, do we share it with the world?
Okay, Kevin Abnell asks, as an intermediary organization, which is relatively rare across the state of Pennsylvania, funding is oftentimes a challenge to find. How is your organization funded?
Yes. We have some amazing national partners and local partners. And I should have prepared for this before I got here because I'm not sure who I'm allowed to say is our national partners and who I'm allowed to say is our local partners. So I might be taking some risk here. If I get in trouble, I will get in trouble. So one of our most consistent and national partners has been the Carnegie Corporation of New York. May have been asking about, which doesn't normally come up with nonprofit organizations, is when you're a nonprofit organization in this day and age, the expectation that you are going to consist and survive and thrive only on philanthropic investment for the remainder of those days are gone. You essentially have to have some strategy or approach for what we call earned revenue. How is this going to be a model where eventually philanthropy can walk away and resources can go to new innovative things? And so it's one of the reasons why I talked about earlier, this concept of how do we get an entire community involved in this? Where county foundations, where government agencies, where public dollars are being put into making this opportunity work. And in the meantime, a lot of our employer partners are very generous in not only providing paid internships, but also the program fee for our work. So right now, for all intents and purposes, philanthropy fills the gap between the program fee, if it's not paid by an employer, and or, anything we try to do when we go to a new city, for example. Like we're not going to expect our current employer partners to pay for us to come to another city to try something out. We're then looking for philanthropy to fill that gap. But that's a good question because funding constraints are real. Thank you, everyone.
Dr. Butler, thank you for your visionary leadership at Opportunity College. Your commitment to empowering students and creating an environment of growth and innovation is truly inspiring. It's an honor to witness positive impact that you're making and fostering a more vibrant local economy for all. So Rotarians, another round of applause for our speaker. As you all know, instead of giving the speaker a gift, we purchase a book and we ask them to sign the book plate and we donate it locally. This week's book will be donated to Crispus Attucks in York, along with a bookmark made by the students at Creative York. Next week we'll be hearing from Rotarian Eric Chase, President and CEO of Children's Aid Society, a not-for-profit organization empowering Adams, Franklin, and York County children and families to build stronger and healthier lives. They envision a community where all children are safe and feel loved. CAS programs include one of just 3 crisis nurseries in the country. The Cornerstone Youth Home for grade school age children whose families are experiencing homelessness. The presentation will focus on the success and growth of CAS and the New Werner Early Learning Childcare Center, which is a $6 million construction project to expand the Lehman Crisis Nursery in the Salem Square neighborhood in York City, including a 3rd shift childcare pilot program. We'll see you next week. This meeting is now adjourned.